Amber Kidd. Amber is a virtual assistant and social media manager who loves to partner with authors, speakers, and visionary business owners to help grow their personal and professional brands and online communities. After spending nearly a decade as a stay-at-home mom, hustling side VA jobs and launching her own side gig for homeschooling, that actually includes writing two international best-selling books. Amber quickly found her calling in the online support world. So Amber, before we get into your story, I want to talk briefly about Leverage to Scale. Leverage to Scale is a online done-for-you content marketing system, and you are the OG of Leverage to Scale. You are one of the very first Leverage to Scale certified VAs, as well as a community leader and support director. So can you tell the audience a little more about what Leverage to Scale is?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite topics. I absolutely love Leverage to Scale. It's really just, to make it simple, is it's kind of a no-brainer system for business owners to be able to bring their VA team in to really be managing their social media so efficiently. We can train even the most low level VA to just jump in, handle your social media like a pro. And that means Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. Before I started Leverage to Scale training, social media management was like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not 20. I don't get it. I can't. So I totally shied away from it in my VA business. But then as soon as I took the Leverage to Scale training, it was like, in total, probably like 5 hours. And the results were phenomenal. I mean, and for the business owners, of course, like that's the kind of quick turnaround you want to be seeing for, products that you're buying and for those VA trainings. And it's one of those things I recommend to every single person I think I talk to, as both being a VA for Leverage to Scale and having Leverage to Scale as part of your business. It's phenomenal.
So anyone interested in learning more about Leverage to Scale, you can actually visit leverage2scale.com. I did forget to mention Casey is my VA today. She is in the comments. So if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and leave them in the comments. Casey will be sending them to me. So if you see me looking off occasionally, that's just Casey communicating with me, letting me know what your questions are. And at the same time too, Casey, if you don't mind posting a link to Leverage to Scale, that would be fantastic. All right, so let's get into it. The name of the series is No Guts, No Glory. And so, Amber, can you tell us your story about a time in your career that took guts?
Yeah, so when you sent me over the questions, a million stories went through my head. I think that probably is the case for any, business owner or anybody who's worked a job ever. But the one that stood out the most is about 3 years ago is when I really, really dove into the world of, online business service as a VA. I was offered, what looked like at the time a once in a lifetime opportunity, just absolute rapid growth, promises of, just absolute, beyond belief things that you would want from a work experience. I had checked every single box, but I started there virtually. And then eventually, within about a month, they asked if I would consider relocating. And so that would be, a decision from moving from Oregon to California with my entire family, my 2 kids, my husband, dog, the whole works. So, I didn't really think about it too much. Like, honestly, I'm a pretty trusting person, I think. And I instantly started connecting with all of the clients. One of my first events, I got to meet 100 of our amazing clients. And, I immediately, got all these, aunties and sisters. And, so they kept me really, really invested in this job. So I did end up relocating. And as soon as, I was really in it, things turned so toxic so fast. And, it's hard to recognize toxicity when you're in it. And especially when, you're not necessarily fully prepared for, the job itself, and you're struggling with, figuring out where your place is. But, the situation turned bad really fast. And it was really the clients that were there that kept me so invested because, we were writing books that were these heart and soul, pieces. And so I got to sit in on these phone calls with them, listening to the reasons why they wanted to be writing these books. And so I was in it. And my job at the time was to be really like the one-on-one coach with these people. So, the idea of leaving the job, even though it, was very obviously not working out, just it wasn't in my thoughts at all. But very quickly, it's just there was no more boundaries. It was a situation where middle of the night phone calls, things were being handed to me that never should have. And I had honestly no idea what I was doing. I didn't have any courage or guts, to say, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And so everything really started to fall apart. But making that move alone, even though that specific job didn't necessarily work out, put me in the position to be where I am now. And I still, I've helped over 150 authors now help write their best-selling book. And like, that's huge. That's a lot of stories. That's a lot of people, so even all of that situation surrounding it, it's made it all worth it. And it gave me so much opportunity for growth. I met Amber actually through one of my amazing clients, which got me here on this team. And it was really, really amazing, like to kind of have that even, progress. Because when I first was introduced to Amber, I wasn't necessarily ready for all of the things, that Amber has to offer. But she is one of those leaders who she's like, okay, I see something in you though, and I'm not really ready to let that go. So why don't you go ahead and just kind of sit and hang out over here for a little while. I started about a year and a half ago, and I was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed in my life. I was overwhelmed by my things. So Amber and I had a really raw conversation, and, she is, in my opinion, what I think a business owner should be. She saw the potential, but she also saw all the damage, because I met her literally a month after getting out of that toxic situation. So like at the time, it was the only thing I knew. I didn't have a good way to communicate with her, but she still was there every single step of the way. And so, that whole situation, just being courageous enough to jump in both feet, it got me this platform that I have right now with all of these clients and all of these amazing authors. And so, that has been honestly one of the best experiences of my life.
There's this saying, and I don't know who said it, I should look it up, but this isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. And what I take from that is this isn't where you're supposed to be. This is your sign that you're supposed to move on. This is just a stepping stone to the next thing. And so I think there's a really good lesson there that, when things just seem to not be going your way, or you're in an environment that's toxic, and it's hard because you're working, you have a family to support. It's not as if you can just up and quit, right? We've got bills to pay, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But I think what it is it's when you have all of those responsibilities, it's easy just to say, I'll just stick it out. I'll just keep going. It'll get better. But when it doesn't ever turn around, or it's not getting better, I think it's just that little nudge of, hey, this is your sign. Like, now's the time to move on and try the next thing, and really like put forth an effort, or just take that next step to, get to the next place. Because this isn't the place that you're supposed to be right now.
Yeah. And it's so easy to just get stuck in that moment. There was, a really long period of time, about like, 6 weeks to, 3 months, where I didn't want to do anything. I had been a stay-at-home mom before, and, we'd done homeschooling, and I was running co-ops and things like that. And that wasn't work to me. That was, me hanging out with my mom friends, just collaborating on ideas. So I didn't want to work. After that experience, I was like, okay, that's not what I'm called to do. I'm not a businesswoman. I don't have the guts for this. I can't, and I luckily have the best people, that were my clients, that were like, excuse you, where are you? I need you still. And I'm like, okay, but I'm hiding. And they're like, no, you're not allowed to hide. I still need you. So can you come over here? Cause I still need you. And, so it was like kicking and screaming. I was like, no, I'm not a businesswoman. I'm a mom. I'm going to go back to hanging out with my kids. We're going to do homeschool stuff. You can find me on Facebook if you would like to chat, but like, I'm not doing this anymore. And it could have stuck like that, but, I really decided once and for all, after a talk with, one of my really great friends and mentors, Naomi Sodeman, she just was like, I see it, like, and her just saying that and validating, kind of a feeling, because I felt called to be in that world, but I didn't see where I fit exactly, and her just validating that for me, kind of helped, be a catalyst back out of that. But, I see where some people could definitely get stuck in that fear and never be able to like get the guts to go and find that glory.
Yeah, what is that? Okay, so I'm gonna come up with this. There's this other saying that somebody says, if it doesn't scare you, it doesn't change you, or something like that. Is that right? I don't know if I said that right. If I didn't say it right, comment below on what that quote actually is. But it's true, right? I mean, change is super scary. But I think one thing Amber Vilhauer says, is like lean into the fear. And it's really interesting when you do that, when you just sort of embrace it, accept it. Now it's going to be scary, but just take baby steps. Just take baby steps, little by little, to get to that goal. It doesn't,
Yeah.
you don't have to get to the finish line right away. It can take a while to get there. So prior to leaving your position, the one that was toxic for you, is there something maybe you wish you had known, maybe either whether prior to accepting the position, maybe some questions you could have asked, or maybe something you would have done different prior to making the decision to leave? I don't know, just sort of any lessons
Yeah.
learned you
I
could
mean,
share with us.
honestly, there's a million regrets, I'm sure, that have gone through my head over the situation. But really, the key takeaways that I always got from it was like, I need to learn how to stand up for myself. Like, I need to be okay not hiding, not, staying quiet. I would get intimidated at outshining other people. And now I realize that that's not even a thing. We're all so different. And so I think that was my biggest takeaway, is to just be what you are, be who you are, and people are going to love you or they're not. But you can't change that. And, the only thing that you can do is advocate for yourself and, not allow yourself to be stuck.
Oh my gosh, I love that. We're going to create a quote card out of that. Okay, so let me ask you, because we're all stuck at home, the kids are at home, they may or may not be returning to school, or if they are, they're not going back to school on, regular 8 to 3 program, Monday through Friday. I know where I live, there's saying it's probably going to be maybe 2 days a week in school, 2 days a week virtual learning. So can you tell us a little bit about homeschooling? I know I might be putting you on the spot
Yeah,
here,
no, I
but
love homeschooling.
give us parents at home, like, what can we do to help educate our kids, especially because I don't feel like I'm like a great teacher. It takes a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Homework time is not my favorite time. But what advice can you give to parents out there about homeschooling?
Yeah, it's funny. My daughter, she's going to be in 6th grade next year. And I was like, I think we're reaching the capacity of my school days. I don't remember. And math is so different now. So what my biggest advice that I've been giving people, and I talk about it so much in my book. So my whole entire book is, it's called Becoming the Apologetic Homeschooler. And basically it's just about the idea that school has been constructed in this way that just doesn't ever make sense for how children develop, how we are as people. Yes, you go to 9 to 5 jobs, but at the end of the day, you want to be raising children that are out of the box thinkers. You want them to see, how they can be rearranging and in control of their own time. So for, parents of younger kids, I tell them right away, school sets you up to fail in thinking how many hours a day kids are actually learning. My 6-year-old, if I sit for 45 minutes and do something, I feel like we have nailed it that day. And then the rest of the day, it's like, favorite books. And, we have so many great programs. Like OutSchool is my absolute favorite. They have classes all the way from preschool to high school. And they can teach anything. My kids have taken art classes, dance classes, karate, math. They're in clubs throughout school. And right now, there's so many freebies. People are getting 50% off deals because they want to be able to tap into all these parents that are now homeschooling. So, the first piece of advice, get out there and search for, what your kids are interested in, because chances are they're giving away a class for free somewhere. And then let your kids be the director of their learning, and know that they're never going to do 8 hours. They don't even do that at school. Your teacher is dividing chunks of time between 30 students. So even the school regulation from up to second grade is 45 minutes. I think beyond that, it's like 2 hours. And then in high school is only 3 hours of required learning, because they have to divide it. So just keep that mind in your head when you're moving forward with your kids. And, if you can get them to sit and read a book, that's learning. If you can get the older one to teach the younger one, that's learning, so just take all of those opportunities.
That's a really good idea. Do you have a set schedule during a typical school semester for your kids? Do you try to, 9 o'clock reading, 10 o'clock math, or do you sort of change it up every day?
Yeah, so I have a set schedule just because I'm a super scheduled person in general, and my kids seem to do better when I have a schedule. But my schedule kind of reads, in the morning when my kids first wake up and I first wake up, we have what's called personal reset, and you're just not allowed to access electronics. You're not required to do any schoolwork or housework or anything. It's my daughter, she plays music, so she usually will play music, or they're both really big readers, so they'll usually finish the book that they were reading the night before or something like that. And then, we slowly kind of move into the day. But our school day, it's just labeled school time. And they kind of get to take, a pick at what they want to learn. If my daughter she hates math, but she thrives in science and reading. And so there's some days where I have to be like, okay, sis, we're going to do math for 20 minutes, but then you can do whatever you want. So, I structure it like that. I'm very casual about what they're allowed to learn, just as long as they're, to some extent keeping pace with where they should be. And, even that I'm pretty flexible on, but I feel like the more freedom you give them, the more things they learn.
Oh, that's interesting. The more freedom you give them, the more things they learn. Okay, I'm going to remember that. I'm going to tell myself that.
I mean, it's scary because the internet is scary, but it's so useful, and I think if you can get the proper, protections and, things like that for kids set up, to just kind of let them start exploring things, we have safe YouTube time where, my son sits there and asks the Google Home, do frogs burp or something crazy, just that's school. It's weird, but it's school.
It's learning. Yeah. Well, you brought up a good point too. For anyone out there, again, if you feel like you are in some sort of toxic situation, or you're looking at making a career change and you're feeling nervous about it, a really great way to start is educate yourself. There's so many free videos out there on YouTube, right? Obviously, there's some that are legit, some that may not be legit. Do a little bit of research, but definitely there's a ton of free training available. Take advantage of that. If that's your one little step today, if you are ready to make a change, think about what really excites you, what gives you passion, no matter what it is, and start watching some informational videos on that, and potentially some training videos.
Yeah.
And just start making that change, start absorbing that knowledge, and just that's the first step. That's the first step.
Kids and adults, I love following the people that, I think are the most influential, because they're, especially right now, going live to share their thoughts. I think that all of us need to be, really, really engaged right now with active learning and active growing. And, that being said, I invite everyone to come and join us in the Leverage to Scale community. The amount of things that we put in there is just fantastic. Amber makes those videos that go up and we share those, but then we also have other business owners that they come in and they collaborate their ideas, they give feedback. The Leverage to Scale community to me has been one of the best places of growth. I've been able to find some amazing connections and just kind of observe the business growth of all of these different people, and it's really, really inspiring, and I can kind of see different connections being made. So I would love if anybody wants to come and join us in the Leverage to Scale community. If you're looking for, a place, where do you start, to kind of find resources and knowledge, that would be where I start. Amber gives videos for, business owners who are kind of facing anything, from self-confidence to, doing videos to social media. So it's anything that you might be struggling with, Amber's going to talk about it, and then we're going to collaborate about it in the group.
Yeah, absolutely. Any small business owner, entrepreneur, you want to learn about websites, social media marketing, live streaming, book launches, there is a ton of free content in there. So definitely reach out, join us on Leverage to Scale. And Amber, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful to work with you on the NGNG team. We really have just the best team. We all come from different places, different backgrounds, different experiences, but the way we come together, it's just so powerful. And to everybody watching, we appreciate you joining us today. It's another Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Take some time just to, take some me time, some time for you, take some time with friends and family, and yeah, make it a great day.